my name is Ashley. I'm the food service director and registered dietitian at Perry Memorial Hospital. Today we are going to make a lovely, beautiful recipe for you. We are going to make my take on very veggie chicken fajitas. All right, so the first step, you are going to want to get some lean chicken. I already have some kind of chopped up and mixed with my seasonings already because I love to mix the chicken with the seasonings so that it kind of marinates a little bit and gets those seasonings kind of in depth in the chicken, and it gives it just a more better and robust flavor. So what you want to do is just thinly slice your chicken, about a pound of chicken, and then you're going to want to mix your fajita seasoning, or you can use taco seasoning in there. I'm actually going to provide you with one of my favorite no salt added, salt-free fajita seasoning. So you will have that right in front of you when you get to try this recipe or when you make it yourself. So that is how I like to use it. You can use packaged seasonings as well. There are a few varieties out there like Ortega, or there's the Taco Bell, El Paso. There's a few different ones. I usually recommend going with something that's low salt, no salt added, sodium free, whatever you can get that's a little bit lower. So as we know, sodium or salt kind of makes us a little bit puffy, not so good for anyone who has heart disease or high blood pressure. So it's always kind of good to eliminate it when you can, or at least reduce it by a little bit. But if you are very busy, don't have a lot of dry seasonings at home, you can definitely pick up one of those packages and use something like that. So all you want to do is mix. I use about a half a package if you're going to do like a store-bought package. Otherwise, the recipe that will be attached to this one for the dry seasoning will be the whole entire recipe that you use for this. And it has cumin in it, paprika, red pepper flakes to give it just a little bit of heat. If you're not a heat person, you can definitely remove the red pepper flakes, but it's just a tinge bit of heat, so you're gonna love it. It won't be that bad. All right, so we're gonna just set that off to the side, and I'm gonna show you how I like to chop up some of my veggies. I have some pre-chopped up veggies already, nice and ready to go. I have some green pepper, some onion, then I have zucchini and tomato. The tomato is really, really important here because that's going to give some liquid and essence to your fajita mix. So you definitely want to make sure you have tomato in your recipe. And then I'm going to show you how to cut up a pepper. Now you might be saying, I don't like one of these vegetables. Maybe you're a little bit pickier, you don't like green pepper. Green pepper can be very bitter, so substitute it with something else. You want roughly about 4 cups of vegetables total, not including the tomatoes. So you definitely want to have the tomatoes, that's where you're getting the juice from, but as far as the other vegetables, mix it up. It doesn't have to be what I have here. You can have broccoli, you can have carrots, you can have cauliflower, whatever you love at home, use those. But this is just my favorite mix because right now, the season is peppers. It is the fall and you've got some good, great peppers out there, and you've got some wonderful zucchini that my garden is growing like crazy, and I have so much zucchini. So this is just one more way I can bulk up zucchini and feel like I'm actually using the stuff that's growing in my garden. So, but I wanted to show you my little trick for cutting up peppers. So we're just gonna take a little sliver and we're gonna go right around the core. See how that core's in there? And I just took a sliver right off of that. And we're just trying to get around the core so we don't cut into it and have a bunch of seeds everywhere. So I'm gonna cut that again. And once you make one slice, you can kind of see where the core is, and it's a lot easier to cut. We're gonna cut that off. See, and then you can just kind of scoop it up, kind of cut it right there. And you've got the whole bottom piece. You can cut that off too. I don't like to leave a lot of waste, so I try to cut off as much as I can. There you go. You just have the end that you can throw out then later on. So we'll set that off to the side. Now I like to clean it up a little bit. I don't like the end piece because that's pretty thick. You can chop it up smaller though, but we're just gonna kind of clean it up. All right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna julienne these strips, just chop them up into little strips, but you can cut them up however you like. If you like more chunks, or you like thinner things. For the green peppers, we just did little julienne strips. It's completely up to you, but I'm just gonna cut a few strips here. Okay, and I like them to be smaller, so I cut them in half. And then you have those beautiful little small strips there. And don't worry if they don't completely cut apart. They'll cut apart when you're stirring them around. So we'll just throw those in the package. And you can use a whole pepper. Like I said, you want about 4 cups total of vegetables, not including the tomatoes. I'm going to chop up the rest of this. And this is kind of a large red pepper, so I'm going to use about 3/4 of it and just save the other bit for later. Okay. All right, so we've got all those beautiful colors. And when I'm thinking about fruits and veggies, I usually recommend more color, the better. If you're getting a variety of colors in your diet, you're also getting a variety of nutrients, whether it's vitamins and minerals. So each one has their own benefit. So the more color that you can get in there is going to definitely be more beneficial for your diet. All right, so now that we moved all the ingredients over to the cooktop, I'm going to show you how I like to put all of this together into one pot. Very simple, less dishes for later. So we are going to start with a hot pan, about medium-high, and then we're going to add a little bit of oil, only about 1.5 teaspoons, maybe 2 teaspoons. Okay. And what we're looking for is for the oil to heat up. When it moves really easily across the pan, you know it's nice and hot and ready to add the chicken. So we're going to let it heat up for just a little bit. What we're going to start off with is the chicken. It's going to sizzle kind of a lot, so just be aware of that. And then we'll add in some of our heartier vegetables. So anything that you're making at home that's a little bit heartier. So like peppers, onions, if you're going to use carrots or broccoli, anything that takes a little bit longer cooking time, you're going to want to start with those first. So, and then we'll add the softer vegetables later because those don't take as long to cook. So, see how our oil's doing. See how it kind of glides across the pan? That's what you're looking for. You want it to be nice and heated up, but you don't want it smoking. That's when you get off flavors. So, we are good to go. We're going to add our chicken in. Like I said, it's been marinating with that dry seasoning. Okay. Right. Okay. And we're just going to let it sit for a little bit. The key here is we want at least one side to brown a little bit. So that's why you want it on that medium-high, almost high, because that kind of keeps in the moisture of the chicken, helps prevent the chicken from drying out. So don't touch it too much. Kind of let it sit on one side and let it get a nice little sear on it. So that's what we're looking for that. Okay. And this will take just a couple minutes, usually about 2 or so minutes. Now because I cut the chicken very thin, it will not take long for the chicken to cook. So what I like to do is just brown one side of the chicken, and then I add my hearty vegetables in. I don't even flip the chicken because really by the time we get all the other vegetables in here cooking, it's going to be nice and done by that time. If we cook too long beforehand, it's going to be dry, and you do not want dry chicken. So then from here, I'm going to add in my peppers and the onions. These are like the hearty vegetables. You want to start with those. Those take a little bit more time to cook. So we're going to start with them. This is when we'll give it a nice good stir. And all you're looking for here is for the onions to get just a little bit translucent, just to lose their color just a little bit, because then you know they've gotten soft. So it takes just a couple minutes. We are looking good. So if you can kind of see, some of these onions have gotten like a bit of an opaque look to them, or a little bit translucent, where they start to lose that bright white color. That is what you're looking for. Then you know they're kind of getting a little bit softer. They're breaking down. They're releasing those juices. That's when we want to add the tomatoes and the zucchini. So we're going to add those in. And I have about a 1.5 cups of tomatoes here. It's probably more on the lines of 2 cups. You want that juice, so it's about 2 whole good-sized tomatoes you're looking for. And you want that juice, so I do have the juice left over from the tomato, so I'm gonna pour that right in there. You want that liquid. And then the twist to this fajita is we are adding what is called quinoa. It is a fantastic whole grain, so we're gonna put about a cup in there. This is such a great grain. It has a ton of healthy benefits, super high in fiber, super high in vitamins and minerals, and since it's a whole grain, it is very, very healthy for you. And that liquid from the tomato is gonna help open up the quinoa. So if you've never had quinoa before, you will find it in the grain aisle. So it's with the rice, you'll find it in that same aisle. It's little grains. If you can kind of see all those little grains, that's quinoa. It cooks super fast. It does not take long at all. So that is why I love using it. Rice can take 45 minutes. I don't have 45 minutes when I'm at home. I have a long day at work. I want to get home. I want to cook. I want to be done and be able to eat something. So this is a nice grain that is fantastic for you and does not take long to cook. So we've got everything kind of mixed together. What we're gonna do is just cover it for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then it is good to go. Now, you wanna check it here and there, just depending on how high you have your heat up, because you don't want it to burn, but you do kind of want it to keep that sizzling. So I'm gonna turn it down just a hair, about medium heat. And then just keep letting it kind of simmer together. And that's what's gonna open up the quinoa so it's not so crunchy and nice and soft, and break down some of those vegetables so they're a little bit softer as well. Now at this point, I'm just gonna season it just a tad bit with some salt and pepper. Now I'm not gonna use a lot of salt. Like I said, when you're choosing like the taco seasonings or fajita seasonings, you want to have one that doesn't have salt or very little salt so that you can control how much you're using. That is a lot better than buying a product that is super high in salt and you can't control it at all. So I'm only going to use just a pinch, so probably about 1/8 of a teaspoon. That's all I'm really using, 1/4 of a teaspoon at the most. You don't need a lot. There's actually quite a bit of salt typically in chicken breast, so you don't need that much, especially when it's kind of cooking down like this. And then I'm going to add some pepper too. About the same. You don't need a lot. There's a lot of seasonings in here already. It's just something to kind of top it off and make it, give it a little bit more flavor. Okay. All right, so we're going to give it a stir. All right, so this is done. So what I like to do is you can put it in a tortilla shell, you can eat it on its own, you can put it on top of lettuce or make lettuce wraps with it. You can use pita and put it inside of a pita. There's so many different ways to really enjoy this recipe. My favorite though is just on its own like this. You have a whole food group in here of vegetables that are just fantastic for you. Okay, so one of my favorite ways I like to top this, just kind of give it a little bit more flavor, is to add a little bit of something like sour cream. So I love sour cream, but I have now found one of my favorite alternatives to give you that flavor and give you that just oomph like a normal taco or fajita. So what I like to use is a non-fat Greek yogurt, plain. This is one of the brands that I typically buy only because it comes in one size container. So this is about 5.3 ounces. I like it because I can buy one and go home and just use one instead of buying a big container and having it for days and days with nothing to do with it. So what I'm going to do is just make a little bit of topping so that you can put something that is healthy and tastes good for you on top of your taco and you don't have to feel too guilty about it. So what I did, I mixed everything right in the container. Nice and simple, less mess. You don't need another bowl. So what I just did is opened up the yogurt, and this is Greek yogurt. You want a Greek that keeps it kind of thick, more the consistency of normal sour cream. And it already has that bitter taste, but what I like to do is add a little bit of lime juice. So you can use fresh lime juice, or you can just use lime juice that you have in your own house if you just have a container of it. So I just add about 2 teaspoons, almost a tablespoon, because I like that strong taste, but 2 teaspoons works just fine. And all you want to do is mix it together in there, and that's all you're going to do. I also add about 1 teaspoon of chopped garlic. So if you can't chop garlic at home or you don't have fresh garlic, you can buy the pre-chopped garlic already and just mix that right in there too. The other thing I like to do is just add a little bit of cilantro chopped right in there. You can have cilantro chopped on the side to add, but I just like to add a little bit into the yogurt on its own. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the cilantro, chop it up real fine, and add it straight to the yogurt. Okay. And that just gives it a nice little flavor. And we're just going to give it a stir. Okay. And this is just one way you can top your tacos or fajitas and feel super, super great about it. Get some dairy in, some calcium, and have it be low fat and super tasty. And that's all that is. And what we did with this bowl too, we added some avocado. Avocado is one of my favorite healthy fats. Super great for you, good for your skin, really, really healthy. So to cut up an avocado, there's that pit in the middle, so you just want to make a score around it. And then my favorite way to take the pit out, you can use a spoon to just get it out, or get that cilantro off. If you hold the one half of the avocado in the palm of your hands, make sure your fingers are out of the way, and the chef knife in the other hand, and all I'm going to do is just lightly tap it. See how the knife kind of stuck right into the pit, and you just give it a little turn. And if it doesn't want to wiggle, just do it again, and you just want to wiggle. And that gets it out. Nice and easy. You can use a spoon too, but that can be kind of messy. So this is just one way that you can get the pit out without having a mess. We'll set that off to the side. And then to slice an avocado, we'll move that out of the way. You can slice right through the rind, and then we're just going to make nice little scores. And kind of see how the peel just comes right off. And then it peels so nice. Look at that. That is beautiful. And this is such a healthy type of fats. One thing that used to be said is all fat's bad fat, and now we know there are good fats, there are not so good fats, and there are some scary fats. And this is one of the best fats for you. Actually known to help decrease your risk of heart disease. So now we know there are some really good fats out there for you. So that's just one way you can add some extra flavor on top of your tacos or your fajitas. If you've never bought an avocado before, one little trick is when you're at the store, you want to just kind of feel them, and you want to push on them. Push on them with your thumb, give it a little pressure, and wherever you push, that spot should pop right back up. If it indents and it's really soft, you know it's a little bit too far. You want this nice green little avocado. If it gets a little brown inside, that's okay, but if it's really, really brown in the inside, then you know it's kind of taken a bit too long and it's a little too past its right stage at that point. So that is how I like to top my fajitas and my tacos. I certainly hope you enjoy this recipe. If you're really curious about all these recipes that we have here at Perry Memorial Hospital, come join us. You can email me or call the hospital and ask for Ashley Schwind, the dietitian. You can call my office. My office is 815-876-4448. For any questions, I am an open book. I love talking to anyone who has questions about cooking or nutrition, so you can go ahead and call. We do monthly cooking classes here at the hospital. So if you're really curious and kind of want to learn some down-to-earth, simple techniques on how to cook and just simple recipes, it does not have to be crazy. You can come and see us at our monthly cooking classes. They are held once a month, the third Thursday of every month at 5 p.m. So So if you're interested, give me a call. We can sign you up. Otherwise, you can just give me a call and we can chit chat. You can always come and see me as an outpatient. I also do outpatient visits. So if you really do have something that you need to talk more in depth about, maybe you have diabetes, you're newly diagnosed, or maybe you've had diabetes for a long time and need some helpful tips like how to cook at home or how to balance your meals or your nutrition, your lifestyle, that is definitely something I can help with. It doesn't have to be that. It can be if you have heart disease or anything really. I can be there to kind of help you out. That is my passion and what I love to do. So if anything else, I hope you enjoy this recipe that we made today, and I hope you take it home and you embrace it and let us know what you think. Thank you.